A very good morning to my financial management students. Today I'd like to go through some review questions with you using your HP calculator. I realize that this is still a struggle for many of you, so I decided to use an emulator so you can see exactly what I'm doing to answer some questions on the time value of money. The time value of money is always a section that many students grapple with. So without further ado, I'm going to go into the lesson itself. I'll just guide you through the section and how to get into the discussion forum in particular. So if you open your main site of my UNISA to the main module site, you should go to discussion forums. When you open discussion forums, you will find my revision content right at the bottom. So when you see revision study units 1, 2, and 3, we'll click on that. We'll now go to study unit 3, solutions to revision questions. Please note that I do put some questions occasionally for you to complete, and it would be advisable for you to attempt these questions before we begin. So let's start off with the first question. I'm going to open up my emulator so you can see it. Just a quick guide on your calculator as well. I have shown this before in a previous tutorial, but for those of you that have not watched the previous one, to clear your memory, you click the shift red arrow followed by the C to cancel all of your, to clear your memory. So now your computer is basically, or your calculator is basically set at 0. Also, when you click shift red and C, you should see a display as 1 per year. This is your standard display, and this is what we always want it to be set at. If, for example, your display shows something else, I'm just going to show you how to sort that out. So, for example, if you click on shift arrow and C and you see 12 per year, you need to change it to 1 per year by clicking 1, shift red arrow and PMT. So what happens now is when you click shift red arrow and C, your display is 1 per year, which is always our starting point. So whenever you begin any calculation, ensure that your calculator is set in this mode. So question number 1, your parents will retire in 18 years. So the first part of the question that we have is N, which is 18. You have to remember it is important to see how many times per year an interest is paid, and that would affect N. Then the question goes on to say they currently have 250,000 in their investment account. So that would be your present value. And they think that they will need R1,000,000 at retirement. So this would be their future value. What annual interest rate must they earn to reach their goal, assuming they don't save any additional funds? So the first thing you need to establish from your question is what is required. So when we look at the question, they want to know the annual interest rate. So this is as basic as it can be. There's no compounding periods per year, so we assume it's one compounding period per year. We start off with our inputs on our calculator as 1,000,000, and we put in this in as future value. Next, we're going to put in present value. Remember, whenever we have present value or PMT, you want to put this as a negative sign because this shows your initial amount. If you have both present value and PMT, you will only put your negative for one of those values. 18 would be the number of years, so you put in 18 as N, and then the output to display your solution would be I, and you would see in this case your answer is 8.01%. This is a very basic calculation. Let's go on to question number 2. You want to buy a car and a local bank will lend you 20,000 rands. So the first thing we establish is the present value is 20,000. The loan would be fully repaid over 5 years, and the nominal interest rate would be 12.68%. The nominal interest rate would be 12.6% with interest paid monthly. Now, this is the important point to note. When interest is paid monthly, it means every year you will have 12 interest payments. So the first thing we need to adjust is N, which is the number of years. So to calculate the number of years, we would say 5 multiplied by 12 because it's 5 full years and 12 months each. So your number of periods in the year is 60 periods. Next, when we want to calculate the interest rate, we take the 12.68 and we divide it by 12. And this would be the interest rate per month. So when we insert our figures into our calculator, again, we start off by clearing memory with the red arrow, shift and cancel. So this clears all of our memory. Next, we would put 20,000. Whenever we're entering a present value, we put a negative symbol and PV. Secondly, we say 5 years. Notice how I do my full calculation in my calculator. So 5 times 12 gives me 60 periods. So we click on N. Next, we want 12.68. So 12.68. And this is your interest per year. We want it per month. So we divide by 12. And we put that as I. Next, we want to calculate my answer. So the question is, what is the monthly loan payment? So my output we're going to put is PMT, and that would give me 451.79. So that sorts out question 2. Let's go to question 3. Question 3, and now this is a bit of a difficult question, so I'm going to go through this with you. An investment will pay 30,000 at the end of the next 4 years. So the next 4 years, 30,000, we understand this. So we would see CF naught would be 0, 30,000 in year 1, 30,000 year 2, 30,000 year 3, and 30,000 year 4. Thereafter, in year 5, it will be 40,000, in year 6, 50,000, and 10,000 in year 7. If other investments of equal risk earn 8% annual interest, what is the investment's present value? So they want I, which is 8%, and they want us to calculate NPV, or the net present value. So we're going to go through this together so that you can see exactly how to insert your figures onto your calculator. Again, remember, we're clearing memory by red arrow, shift, and C. We're going to start off with 0 as your CF naught. So we're going to go 0 and we're going to click CF naught. Next, we're going to go 30,000 and we put it in as CF1. Then we put 30,000 again. Let's go back. So we're just going to take 1 0 out. 30,000 as CF2. Again, 30,000 as CF3. Lastly, 30,000 as CF4. Now my amounts change. So in the 5th year, I'm going to put 40,000 CF5. Then I'm going to put 50,000 CF6. And lastly, I'm going to put 10,000 as CF7. I'm now going to put in 8% as I, and then I want to calculate the net present value. If you see the net present value, to get the net present value, you need to put the shift red arrow followed by PRC. And that will give me my net present value of 163,930.52. A detailed explanation on how to insert or input these figures onto your calculator or your emulator is written as follows. I urge you all to go through these questions using your calculator or your emulator and see that you get the same responses or the same answers as I have. I'm going to do question 4, 5, and 6 in a separate tutorial for you because those are a bit more difficult. And I'm limited to a video space of 10 minutes only. I really hope this has helped, and please post any additional questions that you might have onto the respective forums. Thank you.